Shame. Many survivors of rape, sexual abuse, and sexual assault experience feelings of guilt and shame. Learning more about shame can help you to develop a healthier relationship with guilt and shame, and can help you to heal from toxic or unhealthy shame. There are a number of different types of shame, and sometimes we can experience several of these types all at once, which can intensify the feeling. Many of these types of shame are not your responsibility, such as intergenerational shame and vicarious shame, and yet sometimes you might feel as though you are carrying them. It is really important to untangle which shame belongs to you and which belongs to others by redistributing it and placing it back where it belongs. This video looks at some of the different types of shame. Healthy shame. Healthy shame has several benefits. It regulates our behaviour in relation to others to ensure we relate to others in a respectful way. It promotes empathy and compassion for others. It helps us to stay connected even if we have behaved inappropriately. And it ensures that we do not become shameless or without shame and do not harm or hurt others through this. External shame. External shame is influenced by what we think, believe, or feel about how others see us. It makes us believe that people see us as flawed, defective, a failure, and less than, and that we don't belong. It makes us believe that other people do not like or value us, that they are disgusted or angry with us, that we are unlovable and worthy of rejection. External shame can lead to wanting to hide, conceal, and not be seen, and so not be exposed to further shame. Internal shame. Sometimes externalized shame can become internalized. This can make us feel or believe ourselves to be inadequate, flawed, defective, and bad. It can cause us to have a negative view of our self-worth and to subject ourselves to self-criticism, self-loathing, and self-persecution. It can make us put ourselves down and be critical of ourselves, perpetuating a shame cycle. Unhealthy or toxic shame. This shame occurs when self-blame, unhealthy guilt, and external and internal shame all become fused. It is not due to anything that we have done. It is how we've been made to feel about ourselves through the disapproving gaze of others, humiliation, and abuse. It can cause the feeling of being fundamentally flawed and unlovable, worthless and defective, and it can feel really paralyzing. It can cause us to withdraw and shrink away from social interaction and relationships to avoid further shame. When experiencing unhealthy or toxic shame, we can become highly sensitized to shaming experiences, both external and internal, real or imagined, through verbal or non-verbal communication or shaming situations. It can cause us to become shame-prone, meaning that we anticipate being shamed or shame ourselves. It can be experienced from as young as 15 months old. Experiencing unhealthy or toxic shame is a very negative experience, as it causes fear of rejection by others and the need to disconnect and withdraw from others to avoid further shame. As unhealthy or toxic shame becomes internalized, it becomes deeply connected to our sense of who we are, which makes it more difficult to untangle and resolve. Intergenerational shame. Shame can be passed from one generation to the next through hidden shameful secrets or skeletons in the cupboard. Intergenerational shame is passed down from grandparents, parents, and extended family members to you. It usually consists of events that have been hidden over the generations, such as suicide, abandonment, illegitimacy, adoption, being in care, affairs, rape, bankruptcy, being in prison, mental health problems, childhood sexual abuse, CSA, addiction or disability. Cultural background can sometimes influence intergenerational shame, such as race, ethnicity, religion, status or class, skin colour, financial circumstances, and where we live. Relational shame. Relational shame is a deep sense of unlovability and lack of worth in relationships. It can cause us to believe we have no value and that others will not want to be connected to or be in a relationship with us. It can cause us to become fearful or avoidant of relationships and suppress our underlying need and yearning to be connected and loved. Secondary shame. Secondary shame is a term used when we feel shame about our emotions, such as sadness, anxiety, guilt or shame itself, and emotional reactions such as anger or rage. We might also feel ashamed for having needs, especially dependency needs, for feeling vulnerable or experiencing mental health problems. Secret shame. Secret shame involves us feeling ashamed for feeling ashamed, and it can make us feel an increased need to conceal our shame. Vicarious shame. Vicarious shame involves feeling shame on behalf of another person who is feeling shame, but has pushed it out of conscious awareness and who behaves as though they live without the shame or shamelessly. Vicarious shame involves taking on this shame that belongs to others. We feel as though the shame has been transferred onto us. To heal from unhealthy and toxic shame, it is important to remember that rape and sexual abuse is never the victim's fault. The guilt and shame for abuse can only ever be placed onto the abuser. Perpetrators often make their victims feel guilty and shameful intentionally, as a way to control and manipulate victims and attempt to deflect blame from themselves. For tips and advice on healing from unhealthy shame and guilt, visit the Toolkit and Resources section of our Shame and Guilt webpage. Positive Psychology hosts a useful resource on 16 exercises that can help you to develop stronger compassion for your others and yourself. You might also find it useful to visit the well-being page of our website for tips on how to look after your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. The trauma page of our website explores how the body and mind reacts to traumatic experiences and contains a toolkit of coping mechanisms and support services that may help you if you are experiencing symptoms of psychological trauma. Thank you for watching.